And now we get to the fifth reason, which should probably be the first reason. And it's hard saying this on camera. But the fifth reason was that I was a privileged minority. I was one of those good minorities, not a bad minority. And so I never got a negative response when people found out I was Hawaiian. It was usually, ooh, yay, ooh. So that's why that experience in the Cardston Temple that I talked about, where that woman was all over me in the middle of basically Indian land, and I was the privileged person of color while my brothers and sisters were out there not getting privileges, woke me up to the fact that I had white privilege and, the model minority privilege. This was a concept that I had a really hard time with the first time I learned about it. I actually rejected it in college. I thought that it was a myth. And the sixth reason, which is also hard to admit on camera, is that while I didn't have internalized Polynesian racism, I did have other forms of racism towards other people. I think I was taught it, and I think I believed it, especially towards African Americans, because of the Mormon teachings about them, not so much any other people. And so, I'm so sorry. I have been clueless about the struggle of the African American people, even though at the same time, they are the people that I have identified with most ever since childhood. Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, with the oppression and the slavery and the bondage and the misery, because that's what my home life was like. And yet, I had a prejudice, and I'm sorry that I did. So yeah, the issue of racism finds me in a very hard place sometimes as I deconstruct and walk away from the faith that I was raised in. Sometimes as a third culture kid, you feel like you belong everywhere and nowhere at once. And adding religion on top of it, especially a high demand religion like Mormonism, just makes it worse. Because really, in the end, it was Mormonism that was my culture, and that's why deconstructing from all this just stinks so much. One last thing I forgot to say, a special thank you to Ipolani of Co-Studio Creates. She has been my sister and my mentor here. My baby sister was also born blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and my mother also believed that the curse was leaving. It's so sad.